When a group of cave divers get trapped in an ancient cave, they discover creatures that want more than blood. During the Cold War era, a group of plunderers trespasses in a 13th century church in Romania. Assisted by a local guide, they make their way up to the Carpathian Mountains, where it resides. After some time, they finally arrive and enter a passage that leads to the crypts. There, the men are amazed by the engraved figures of the winged demons on the walls. The group searches for an entrance to a renowned cave, which is supposedly a gold mine. Realizing that they're standing above it, they use explosives to bust the floor open. It gets the job done, but the entire floor collapses, causing them to fall underground. The explosion also triggers a landslide, demolishing the church and burying the men underground. Luckily, they survive, so they descend further into the cave to find a way out. 30 years later, a group of scientists excavate the site of the old church. After discovering the cave's opening, they see a river that extends further inside. Curious about what lies beyond, they plan on hiring a group of divers to explore the uncharted area. In Yucatan, Mexico, Tyler McAllister and his team search for a cave underwater. After the rest of the group gives up, he stays longer and successfully finds the entrance. When he reaches the surface, his brother, Jack, reminds him to listen when he calls time. That night, the group gets a call from Dr. Nikolai, one of the scientists from the excavation site. They've been chosen to explore the cave in the Carpathian Mountains, and Nikolai will have the whole thing documented and filmed. The following day, the team arrives and begins setting up their equipment. During this, Tyler notices Dr. Catherine Jennings, with whom he quickly gets infatuated. He approaches her and introduces himself as the diving team's first scout. Catherine then introduces him to the cameraman, Alex Kim. She notices they're a rebreather, so Tyler explains that he and Jack modified them to allow them to stay underwater for 24 hours. Just then, Nikolai introduces Jack to Catherine. Based on his approach, Tyler realizes that his brother is also taking a shot at the same girl. That night, the group gathers for a meeting. Jack explains that there's an enormous cavern just below the cave entrance, which Nikolai named the Titan Hall. There's also a sump that leads to an underwater passageway, where they'll find a dry cavern. They'll use the cavern as an advanced base camp where Nikolai and Catherine can collect samples. As Jack mentions Catherine, Charlie, their rock climbing expert, rolls her eyes. Jack finishes his speech, saying that the expedition will last for 12 days. Their survival expert, Top Buchanan, reminds the group that the cave is a serious piece of work and has already taken at least one life. Therefore, everyone should respect it. Later that night, Nikolai discusses the cave's history with Tyler and Catherine. He claims that the people created the church to seal the cave, making it a display of God's protective power. He then interprets the recovered mosaics, saying that there's a legend where knights battled some winged demons. Intrigued, Tyler asks if the knights won. Catherine replies that they didn't, as Europeans have a penchant for sad endings. The following morning, the expedition commences. Everyone rappels down the hole until they reach Titan Hall, which is absolutely breathtaking. Briggs gets assigned as the first scout, so he excitedly sets up his gear and goes underwater. The group keeps in contact with him through their computer. Soon, Briggs alerts them that there's a curve up ahead and he might lose signal for a bit. Before losing his connection, Briggs says he'll call Tyler once he set up the fiber optics on the other side. This upsets Tyler since he believes he's the best scout. However, Jack sidelines him for his reckless behavior during their last dive. As Briggs continues his exploration, Catherine approaches Tyler and gives him a spider in a tube. She reckons this will make him feel better about not being assigned the first scout. Tyler explains that he just wants to be the first in the place no one's ever been. Catherine feels the same way, adding that she'd put her name on anything she finds unique. Meanwhile, Strode, the sonar expert, worries that they have lost contact with Briggs for quite some time. Jack calls Tyler, telling him that he'll send him as a backup if Briggs doesn't respond in 10 minutes. However, Briggs comes back online as he finally reaches the advanced base camp after traveling for 2.4 miles. He then sends the team the data of the passageway that he took with the mapping gun. Suddenly, a huge mole scurries past Briggs, and he claims that it looks like Tyler. This makes everyone laugh. Just then, Briggs sees something peculiar in the distance, and before he can tell the team about it, they lose contact with him. Top gets worried, so he suggests sending a second scout to check on Briggs. Tyler argues that they should all dive there since they have the map anyway. Jack agrees, so the team gears up and dives underwater. The team is amazed by the draperies and structures in the underwater passageway while Alex captures everything with his camera. With 200 yards remaining until they reach the advanced base camp, they pass a huge animal skeleton. Jack and Top advance from the team while the others tail behind. Shortly after, Jack and Top reach the base camp, where they find Briggs' rebreather on the ground. After calling for him, Briggs appears from above, signaling them to take a look at the booty found. It turns out that they aren't the first ones to reach this part of the cave. Meanwhile, Strode and Tyler are still underwater, but the former hears something, so he takes a different path, separating from his companion. This leads him to a separate cavern where he finds one of the mole-like creatures torn in half. Strode sees another mole running away and hears something moving around. He tries to contact Tyler, but the latter discovers a break in their dive line that looks to be chewed up. Suddenly, a demonic creature attacks Strode, dragging him into the water. Hearing his screams, Tyler searches for him while Strode desperately grabs onto his rebreather to escape, but the creature pulls him away. The rebreather crashes on the cave's walls, causing it to explode and block the entrance when it collapses. The pressure sends Tyler to the surface, where he immediately informs the others that Strode was screaming for help. When Jack and Top search for Strode, they only find a stripped counterlung and a blocked passageway. When they resurface, Jack informs the team that they're trapped, and since they estimated their expedition to last for 12 days, they won't be reported missing until then. Briggs gets nervous about Strode's death, wondering if something attacked him. Tyler believes that Strode merely had hallucinations or narcosis, so he lost control of his equipment. Top thinks it doesn't matter, as they have to focus on finding a way out. However, Nikolai believes that they should stay and wait for the rescuers. Jack opposes this, saying that the rescue team they need is in their very circle. With that in mind, he and Top begin to look for an exit while the others stay behind to rest. During this, Briggs accuses Tyler of downplaying Strode's death, thinking that he's at fault. This leads to a fistfight between them until Charlie stops them, reminding them that they just lost a friend. Elsewhere, Jack and Top crawl into a narrow tunnel, only to discover white scorpions at the end. Suddenly, Jack gets attacked by another creature that drags him upward. He manages to cut off one of its claws to escape. Immediately, he and Top return to base, where he seeks medical attention. Shortly after, Catherine and Nikolai check the claw under a microscope and conclude that the creature evolved in isolation, losing their sights but developing heightened senses of hearing and smell. Alex comments that it looks like one of those demons from the mosaic. Refusing to sit and wait for the creature to find them, the team moves out to look for an exit. On their way, they come across a human bone with teeth marks all over it, suggesting that something bigger might prey on them too. When they reach a fork in the path, Jack scouts the tunnels alone. This pisses off Briggs since they have a sonar gun to see where to go faster. He uses this on one of the tunnels, insisting that it's the correct path. When he checks again, something has moved within the tunnel, hinting that something is waiting for them there. Instead, the group continues upward. Seeing everyone tired, Jack tells Top that they'll take a break when they hit the water. Top says there isn't water anywhere, but Jack says he can smell it. True enough, they reach a river. There, Alex keeps filming, which annoys Jack, so he throws the camera into the water and pushes him to the ground. Everyone gets shocked by his abrupt violence, so Jack apologizes. The group rests and Jack shivers in pain alone during this time, hiding his condition from the others. During this, he oddly hears them talking about him, with Top and Tyler worried and Charlie assuring the rest that he can get them out of there. Soon, Tyler checks on his brother, who tells him that Briggs is a problem. He asserts that he can't save them if they don't trust him, and Tyler agrees. Later, everyone returns to the water, where they eventually reach another cavern with a series of rapids. Although some refuse to go through it, Jack argues that it's the only exit available. Tyler and Catherine are the last to go through the rapids, but they get separated after Catherine gets stuck. Tyler helplessly tumbles through the tunnels and goes past Nikolai, who's badly wounded. He then reaches the edge, plummeting down a waterfall. Catherine falls right after him, saying something held her back there. Just then, Charlie appears, reporting that eel-like creatures are in the water. Upon seeing the creatures, Tyler scares them off with his flare. Shortly after, they regroup with others. Suddenly, Nikolai falls off the waterfall and Jack goes to retrieve him. Before he reaches him, however, something attacks the doctor and drags him underwater. Jack follows the blood trail and sees the monster dragging Nikolai into the abyss. When Jack resurfaces, he finds Nikolai stuck in a crevice, barely alive. Suddenly, the creature pulls the doctor further inside, allowing Jack to see a tattoo on its hand. Finally, Nikolai disappears into the hole. He then returns to the group to inform them of Nikolai's death, which Catherine blames him for since they didn't want to go into the rapids earlier. Nevertheless, the group continues. As they do, they hear a sound that Catherine identifies as echolocation, which blind bats used to see. Reaching the shore, Jack tells everyone that they must scale the walls to escape, but the others think following the river's current will lead to an exit. Jack thinks that the path is a trap, so he insists on climbing the wall. Charlie volunteers to go first, but he refuses. Instead, he and Tyler equip themselves to scale the walls. Catherine tells Tyler that Jack is ill and unfit to lead. However, Tyler defends his brother. Suddenly, they find Charlie scaling the walls quickly, so the team hurries to assist her as she ascends. When she reaches the top edge, Jack and the others follow. However, Charlie encounters the creature, causing her to back away and fall. She hits her head and loses consciousness while dangling on the rope. However, she quickly recovers and finds the creature crawling toward her. Jack tries to save her, but he shivers as if his wound is spreading an infection that's consuming him. Charlie then runs on the cave walls to escape to the other side. As she leaps, she cuts her harness and grabs onto the adjacent wall. She relaxes, thinking she's finally safe, but the creature comes to light, revealing that it can fly. The creature traps Charlie between its arms and starts stabbing her, but she fights back using her flamethrower. The creature dies, but so does Charlie. After Jack recovers her body, the rest notice the drastic change in his appearance. His pupils are inhumanely slated, and his other senses are heightened. Catherine deduces that a parasite entered Jack's bloodstream through his wound. It mutates the host, allowing them to survive in the environment they're currently in. This is what happened to the previous cavers who arrived before them. Catherine emphasizes that the creatures didn't eat the cavers, but they turned into them instead. Because of this, Briggs questions Jack's motives, so he sides with Catherine in following the river. Alex goes with them, while Tyler and Top stay with Jack. Catherine and the others begin their dive, while Jack and his group head upwards. They soon reach a cliff, so they rappel down, with Top going first. Tyler follows, but he lands roughly on the ledge, dropping his rebreather, which hits Top. Top slides down the cliff and busts his leg. Meanwhile, the rebreather punches a hole through an ice wall, revealing an entrance to another cavern. As they enter it, they find a killing ground with tons of skeletons in medieval armor. Tyler comments that it's like how Nikolai described the legends. Just then, Jack sees daylight under the gurgling water, signifying that it's the way out. He suddenly gets dizzy when the mutation acts up again, but he quickly recovers. He orders Tyler and Jack to escape while he gets the others. Tyler argues that he's not in the right condition, so he'll go instead. Top convinces Jack, and Tyler soon leaves to get the others. Elsewhere, Briggs lights a flare as they reach a tunnel, only to get attacked by the creatures while he allows the others to escape. While Tyler is away, a few of the creatures head to the cavern where Jack and Top are. One dives down on them and takes one of the rebreathers, making Jack realize that the creatures are toying with them. Meanwhile, Tyler arrives at the other group's last location, where he finds their bloody rebreathers. When Tyler calls out to them, Briggs screams from the crevice where he's stuck in. Tyler desperately tries to pull him out, but the creature drags him in. Without hesitation, Tyler squeezes himself into the crack to save his friend, but he's too late as the creature has impaled Brig on the stalactites. With his last breath, he tells them where the others are, then drops his pickaxe. Just then, the creature appears, so Tyler grabs the axe and runs. The creature almost catches up to him, but Catherine arrives and dazes it with a mapping gun. Catherine embraces Tyler in relief, then explains that the creature's weakness is intense sound waves. After informing her of Briggs' death, Tyler leads Catherine to the exit. To get there, they need to go through tight underwater passageways, which forces them to hold their breath as the rebreathers wouldn't fit. Catherine loses consciousness from lack of air, but Tyler resuscitates her when they reach the shore. Suddenly, they hear something approaching, but luckily it's only Alex. The three quickly head to the cavern, reuniting with the others. Jack informs them that the creatures see with sounds, but the cavern's steam confuses them. To exit through the water, they need the stolen rebreather to last to the surface. With that, Jack plots to retrieve it while his brother leads the rest into the water. As they prepare, Top slips, causing the rebreathers to fall and catch the creature's attention. Alex uses the mapping gun to buy time, but the creatures start breaking the stalactites, which impales his leg. As he screams in pain, Tyler rushes to save him, but a creature finds Alex first and kills him. Another monster stalks the water, so Top and Catherine submerge themselves to hide. When it still finds them, Top slams the rebreather against its face. Despite this, the creature doesn't retreat, so Tyler jumps to it and slashes its neck. Meanwhile, Jack climbs the wall and retrieves the rebreather. He tosses it to his brother while more creatures approach him. Instead of escaping, he lights a flare and places it inside a rebreather before tossing it into the water. This distracts the other monsters, but one still rushes to him. With a knife in hand, Jack leaps to catch the creature in mid-air, and they fall into the water. Knowing it's too late for his brother, Tyler joins the rest and escapes as the cave explodes. Days later, the three return to the city where they bid Top goodbye. Tyler then sits across Catherine in a cafe and asks if Jack could have survived out in the open, given his mutation. Catherine admits that she was sure it wasn't possible, but she's not certain now. She then kisses Tyler on the cheek, whispering that she thinks the parasite wants to get out. As she does, he sees her pupils, which are similar to Jack's. She then hurries away, but Tyler realizes that she's also infected. He chases her down but loses sight of her in the bustling streets, thus allowing the parasite to multiply on the surface.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.